What's up, everybody? It's Dakota from S&D Entertainment, and this is a video going over my 5 favorite cards from the new Magic the Gathering set, Eldritch Moon. I guess without further ado, let's kind of jump right into the video. I got a list of 5 cards. I'm going to show the cards on screen, kind of as I talk about them, and read them off, and just give my opinion on why they're kind of like my favorite cards or why I'm pointing them out in this video. The first one that I would like to mention first is Eldritch Evolution. Eldritch Evolution is 2 green and 1 of any color for a sorcery that has an additional cost of sacrificing a creature. Search your library for a creature card with converted mana cost X or less, where X is 2 plus the sacrificed creature's converted mana cost. Put that card onto the battlefield and shuffle your library, exile Eldritch Evolution. One reason why this card is on my kind of like my cards to watch list is because it is a card that lets you tutor for a creature. It's not like Green Sun Zenith where you pay X, where X is I guess whatever you pay, and you can search for a creature X or less and put it on the battlefield. I'm sorry, a green creature X or less, and shuffle it back into your library. While it's not obviously better than Chord of Calling or Tooth and Nail, it is a really good card to get value from your creatures that die or that help you when they're in the graveyard. So it lets you sack and then search for a creature. I know I'm going to be playing it in my Riz the Redeemed EDH deck because even if you sacrifice a token, you get a creature with converted mana cost 2 or less, and that helps me get my Priest of Titania to help me kind of get into the or to help me ramp, excuse me, and hurry up and beat down my opponent by making all my elves super big or my creatures super big. Also, it's aggressively costed at 3 mana, instead of paying like 5 or 6 and sacrificing a creature. So if it, I know if it gets countered, it's like, well, I spent 3 mana and sacrificed a creature, but the upside of resolving the spell is definitely way better than if it gets countered, where, you're probably not playing it to you're probably not playing it when it doesn't matter. You're playing it to either get out a beater or a card that's really going to help you depending on the board state, or you're just going for that creature that's going to help you win the game if you're going for broke, and then if it gets countered, well, then you lose the game. So to me, it just seems like it's a really good card. Plus, I've been told there's a really, really stupid combo in Modern playing it to get a turn 2 Iona, which she just says that you choose a color when she enters the battlefield and players can't cast the spell of the chosen color, which is apparently really good to have I think it's a 9/9 or a 6/6. I believe it's a 9/9 on turn 2. I mean, that's just something to put out there. But yeah, Eldritch Evolution is one of my cards to watch for. My second card to look for in Eldritch Moon is Liliana, the Last Hope. She is a 3 mana, 2 black, and 1 of any other color for a Planeswalker with 3 loyalty. You +1 up to 1 target creature gets -2/-1 until your next turn. -2. Put the top 2 cards of your library into your graveyard, then you may return a creature card from your graveyard to your hand. -7. You get an emblem with, at the beginning of your end step, put X 2/2 zombie creature tokens onto the battlefield, where X is +2 the number of zombies you control. Now, she's a mythic rare for one, so, she's not going to be easy to pull. But if you look at her abilities, a +1 she protects herself, which is awesome. You have to love that ability. And it's until your next turn, so even if it isn't meant to kill something, it definitely makes something easier to kill while also debuffing it and basically making it useless. Or you probably have a way to deal with it or something. +1 is just it's good. It's not insane. It's not going to be the thing that wins you the game, but it's pretty good in helping her protect herself. Now, if you're paying 3 mana to put 2 cards in the graveyard, and then not returning a creature to the graveyard. I know in the zombie deck I talked about in a video kind of going over Eldritch Moon, my personal experience uh, with some of the cards in it. Gisa and Gerloff could help you in a certain bit in a tribal zombie build where you just want to put certain zombies into the graveyard, like you mill two and like you hit a prize amalgam. You don't want to return that because you want to keep that in the yard so you can bring it back and not really have to worry about casting it. But on the flip side, it'd also be good if you put your top two or top three. I think it's a top three or top two cards in the graveyard, and you want to get Relentless Dead back. That could be a really good ability too if you're just paying 3 mana to get back a Relentless Dead to basically keep churning out zombies. And -7, I mean, out of like Planeswalker Ultimates, this one could be one of the more annoying ones. Uh, Liliana Heretical Healer had an ability where if a creature would die, it comes back to the battlefield under your control at the beginning of the next end step, while this one just says you get X 2/2 zombies, where X is 2 plus the number of zombies you control. So if you're playing in a tribal deck, of course it's going to be stupid because as soon as you ultimate, you're going to get at least 2 zombies, even if you don't control anything. And say if you control only 3 zombies, when you play her, you're getting 5. And then if your opponent can't deal with it, you're getting 7. So then you have 12 total. And then, of course, with Graft Harvest, which is actually, I believe it's Graft Harvest, um, which is a card that gives zombies menace. It ends up being really good because even if you only have 2 zombies, you get 4 the turn you ultimate her. So then you're attacking with effectively 6/2/2 creatures that have menace. Of course, best case scenario, but you still have 6/2/2s that don't come into the battlefield tapped, they come into play untapped. Super good. At least in my opinion. Will ultimates of her ever really happen? No, there's probably a decks that play a lot of Planeswalker hate, considering Planeswalkers are now getting a lot of support in Standard, and I know people are actually planning on building Super Friend decks legal in Standard. So would ultimating Liliana in your tribal deck really do anything, or would you even get there? Probably not, but if you get there, imagine it's kind of hard for you to lose the game unless your opponent has just a really good draw or just has a lot of languishes and removal and stuff like that. But another one of my cards, definitely Liliana, the Last Hope, and she is definitely living up to the Last Hope part of her name. Uh, the third card, which I talked about, and I should have waited on it. Graft Harvest, which is a 1 black enchantment that says your zombies have menace, and you can pay 3 of any color and a black and exile a creature card from your graveyard to put a 2/2 black zombie creature token onto the battlefield. And note that it's untapped. So I already kind of talked about why it's good. I mean, it kind of helps. It gives zombies the support that I think it needed, where yeah, it's already great to have a bunch of tutus, and I'm not gonna lie, just if I had 12 tutus, I would rather be on that board probably versus what's ever on the other side, unless it has 13 tutus. But giving the menace kind of gives it that horror zombie kind of feel, where like it's overwhelming. Even if it's just 4 zombies with menace, you need 8 creatures to block all of them. It definitely gives you that feeling of horror. So I really like it. I think it's one of the cards that definitely puts zombies over the top and helps it become a more viable deck choice in standard, and hopefully we'll see it come up in the next X amount of X amount of weeks or months until the next set comes out, which I believe is Kaladesh. I believe so. But again, super good card. I think it makes zombies a lot more viable in standard. And the next card I want to talk about, I talked about in my Talked about in my pre-release video, Crypt Breaker, which is a which is one black mana for a 1/1 zombie creature with one colorless black and tapping it. You can discard a card and put a 2/2 black zombie creature token onto the battlefield, untapped. Tap 3 untapped zombies you control to draw a card and you lose 1 life. The card is pretty good. It's a really good card. I would go on record saying that it's an insane card. It's 1 mana for a 1/1 zombie. All right, that's on point, I guess, or on curve. Like 1 mana, 1/1 doesn't really. It's not gonna get in the beats, or at least it shouldn't be. But if it is and it's putting in work, I guess what's wrong with it? But the fact that it's basically turns into a pack rat type creature, even though you have to tap it and you can't activate it multiple times unless you have multiple ones of him. But the fact that you can pay to tap it and discard a card to get a creature, and then also if you're able to make more zombies either through him and not having to trade or anything, it just gives you pure cards for life. I mean, tapping 3 zombies on end step or before damage when you block to only feasibly take 1 damage and get 1 extra card, and then also possibly enabling Delirium, or, well, enabling Delirium by discarding the card, but then also using Madness to your advantage, paying basically 2 extra mana to cast something at instant speed seems really good. Also, while getting a 2/2, while also probably getting to draw a card at the end of the turn, just keep filling up your hand to make Crypt Breaker a more dangerous card, or a card that has to be dealt with. I think that's why, as far as 1 mana spells go, uh, that are in standard now, Crypt Breaker definitely gives the zombie deck or a mono black deck or as something, gives it a lot more firepower and gives it a lot more threats, even though it is a 1/1 and it's probably not going to win you the game by being on the beatdown, but it's probably going to win or help you win if even if it means that it only makes like 2 or 3 tokens and draws you an extra 2 or 3 cards. That could definitely be the card that helps you win the game and helps keep you in the game if you're playing against a more control-y deck or if you're playing against an aggressive deck. The ability probably doesn't become nearly as good, but trading a land, or a land in your hand that's just kind of sitting there, or a creature that you want to put in the graveyard, or a madness card that you really want to cast, it's definitely a good card to help you cash those in. And then finally, the last card I want to talk about is Grimflayer. Grimflayer is a 2 mana creature, or a 2 mana creature, yes, a black and a green for a 2/2 trampler. He's a human warrior too, so I'm done with the zombie creatures. But whenever Grimflayer deals combat damage to a player, look at the top 3 cards of your library. Put any number of them into your graveyard and put the rest back on top of your library in any order. And with Delirium, he gets 2/2 as long as there are 4 more card types in your graveyard. So basically, late game, you have a creature that acts like a Sylvan Advocate, only not as good, but also in ways better. So, I'm assuming with a deck like this, you're probably playing Jund or green black splashing uh, almost any other color, to be honest, and just controlling your draws and controlling what creatures you might get in the late game, or while trying to fill up your graveyard to hit Delirium and gets to some of your bigger payoff cards like more of him. And it just becomes really good when you have 8 creatures where by turn 5 or turn 6 into the game, you can be playing 2 mana 4/5s with Vigilance and giving your other land creatures +2/+2, or playing a 2/2 creature, or a 2 mana creature that's a 4/4 with trample that you could eventually just run over and kill someone with. So those are my 5 cards that I'm looking forward to in Eldritch Moon. Looking forward to in mainly Standard because I think that's where most of these cards get played if they get seen play in Modern or God forbid Legacy. My goodness. Um, then that'd be great. But these are cards I'm just looking forward to seeing in Standard now. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you enjoyed it, leave a like and comment what card you think you want to, or I guess that you want to see in Standard or any other format really, and what cards you're excited about. And that's it. I'll see you guys in the next episode.